very warm good morning, or shall I say good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Shikha and I am super excited and honored to welcome all of you to International Brand Equity Presents National Startup Day 2023 Summit and Bharat Startup Awards. Let's have a huge round of applause for all of us gathering here today. Well, brilliant. The energy is setting up in the room, and I would also like to wish all of us a very productive and progressive, prosperous, happy Startup Day 2023. I wish all of you, come on, you can wish me back. You can wish me back. Thank you. Thanks a lot. And now, we have a very amazing day, exciting day planned for all of us here. We've got some fire-steep panel discussions. We have learned chief guests coming up, very knowledgeable and successful panelists, and a networking lunch. And to top it all, we have a wonderful award ceremony for all those who really mattered in the last 1 year in the domain of startups. But before we move ahead, let us know more about the firm which has been responsible for bringing all of us together here today. So, International Brand Equity is a leading marketing and business magazine and publisher of the highly influential annual Best Brands reports like Consumer Choice Awards. The firm organizes business awards, conferences, and workshops as well as seminars. A fully autonomous business magazine, IBE represents an astute source of information from across industries. IBE provides the reader with up-to-date news, reviews, opinions, and polls on leading brands across the globe. This event today has been instituted by International Brand Equity to celebrate the achievements of startup companies, best brands, and professionals that have contributed immensely towards the growth of startup ecosystem across India. In short, this whole summit is organized to celebrate all of you today. So let's give it up for all of us present here who are a part of this huge startup ecosystem in India. And this is a very auspicious day for all of us, being that this is the first ever summit of its kind being brought together by IBE, and I believe that every auspicious day calls for a ritual in itself. So let's start this beautiful, amazing, exciting day with the ritual of lamp lighting. I'd like to call forward some of the dignitaries that are present here with us today. I'd like to call forward the CEO of Good Worker, Mr. Amit Jain. Please be here. Please help us with the lamp lighting, Mr. Amit. I'd also like to call upon stage the co-founder of Stallion Build Tech, Mr. Milind Changani. Thank you for being here with us today. The business head of IBE, Mr. Kumar Saurabh. And let's give it up for Kumar Saurabh as well. Ms. Divya Momaya, the CEO of MentorMy Board, please. And the Managing Director of Polucare, Mr. S. Sai Babu. I request our dignitaries to please step forward and help us with the lamp lighting and starting with this auspicious day in the best possible way. What a beautiful amalgamation of people from various domains of our country. And there you go. I request the dignitaries to please step forward for a beautiful photograph as a memory. let our startup ecosystem keep being lit just as these beautiful diyas today. Thank you very much to our dignitaries. Please have your seat. Please be comfortable as we get started with this amazing day. So let me present to you our first speaker of the day. Now, she is a business development catalyst, an impactful networker, and an inspirational executive presence coach. Her purpose is to help people to become their most confident selves on camera and in person. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the founder of Passion and Purpose, and also she is the guest moderator for the day, Miss Kavita Garla.
So good morning. Morning. I think Diksha's energy is contagious. Don't you agree? Are you feeling a little more energized? I surely am. So thank you for a fantastic start. Yes. So I was approached by IBE to co-host the panelists and the discussion just a few days ago. And I was super excited because I did a short stint with a startup last year. 3 months to be exact, and I think I learned a lot about startups in those 3 months, and I did realize that it's not for me. So it was a very short stint, and today, just being here in the audience, it's been exciting to meet such amazing startup founders with so much passion in them. So I want to start by saying a warm welcome to all of you to the first edition of the National Startup Summit and Bharat Startup Awards. This is an annual IBE event celebrating the spirit of entrepreneurship and innovation in the country. You know, I love Neil Blumenthal's definition of a startup. A startup is a company working to solve a problem where the solution is not obvious and success is not guaranteed. How many of you agree with that? Yeah, it's right? Okay. Today we are here to celebrate and learn from those gutsy, passionate startup founders who are willing to take on this uncertainty and risk in order to create something new and innovative which solves a need or a problem. We want to recognize and reward the efforts of startups in India that have the potential to make India an Atmanirbhar Bharat. Hi. India offers a wide range of opportunities for startups. The Indian economy is growing rapidly, providing ample opportunities for entrepreneurs. The government has also launched the Startup India initiative to provide benefits and incentives to startups. These include tax exemptions, relaxed norms, single window clearance, patent protection, and access to venture capital, some of which we will discuss in the panel discussions to follow. Additionally, India has a large talent pool of developers and engineers, as we know, as well as a large consumer base, which makes it a great place to start a business. IBE today has created a wonderful opportunity for all of you to connect to the decision makers of startups who are running some of the most creative, innovative, and groundbreaking businesses in the nation. So the event today will include panel discussions on 2 topics, from a startup to a brand, and understanding and exploring startup opportunities in India. And also, like Diksha said, an exciting star-studded startup award ceremony post-lunch. So we have a beautiful morning and afternoon planned out for you. The question is, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready to listen to some beautiful speakers talking on subjects that they are so passionate about? We want you to take away from these speakers, maybe learn something, maybe grow and maybe connect with them to take your startup to the next level. I thank you all for this opportunity. Thank you for listening. I'm handing it back to Deeksha to kickstart the day today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kavita, for that welcome speech. And I believe all of our guests today are well aware of what they should look forward to. So without further ado, let's move to the first panel discussion of the day. The topic being from startup to brand, as already has been, revealed by Kavita over here. But before that, how many startup owners in the hall? Please give me a raise of hand. Wonderful, wonderful. I'm sure all of us are connected to startups in one way or the other. But my question here is, whenever we start with this idea of building a startup, what's one thing that we all aspire to be? Any guesses? Any guesses? What is one thing that we all aspire to be when we start up with an idea? Brand, global. Anybody else? Unicorn. Oh, wonderful. Yes. Anybody else who'd like to contribute? Yeah, I think I have the answer here. Unicorn, global.
It should solve some problems.
Yes, absolutely. It should be a global leader in solving one or the other of the major problems, right? So when we collate all of these things, we are basically talking of building a brand. And that's what our first panel discussion talks about in detail, where we will learn how to start and work and become a brand in India. So with this, let me present to you our panelists for the day. My first panelist for the day is the Managing Director of Polycare. Polycare is one of the top environmental consultants in India at the present, and it is also responsible for many turnkey projects. So please, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the Managing Director of Polycare, Mr. S. Sai Babu. Thank you, sir, for being a part. Please have a seat. Thank you very much. And next, I'd like to bring a gentleman who is a digital business leader and knows how to build and grow. With 21 plus years of experience across various domains revolving around product life cycle, let me present to you the CEO of Good Worker, Mr. Amit Jain. Thank you very much, Amit, for joining us today. Please have a seat. Well, moving on, let me present to you the next panelist, an award-winning serial entrepreneur, a hardcore techno-functional leader with 15 plus years of experience in large-scale, multi-million-dollar business transformations across the globe. Please put your hands together for the CEO of Daitos Solutions and E2E Hiring Private Limited, Mr. Monu. Thank you. Thank you, Monu, for joining us today. Please have a seat. Thank you. And last but definitely not the least, how could it be? We have our next panelist who is a speaker and an influencer with expertise in client communications and end-to-end product development. May we have the founder of TechZeus, Ms. Aishwarya Mishra, on the stage, please. Thank you very much, Aishwarya, for being with us here today. And as we have already listened to the next personality, she is our guest moderator for the day. May we have a round of applause for Kavita once again to please come forward and moderate this session for us. Thank you, Kavita.
So building a brand for a startup is an important process that involves creating a unique identity and reputation for a company. Branding a new business is tricky, but super exciting. I'm sure all of you will agree on that. It goes far beyond just the color and design. A strong brand becomes the DNA of the business. It reflects and unites the values, the mission, the vision, the practices, and why you started this epic journey in the first place. And most importantly, it establishes trust with your customers. Today, we get to learn the importance of building a brand for your startup from four brilliant, diverse minds. Diksha has already introduced them, and I just want to say thank you and extend a warm welcome to all of you to the panel. So are you all set? Yes. Okay, so my first question is in two parts. Ideally, when should a startup start building a brand? And what are the key elements that are important to consider when building a brand which are unique to a startup? Ladies first?
Yeah,
She took the mic,
of course.
so.
I was just getting ready. To answer the question, I think the moment we realize that we are solving a problem of a consumer or customer, or we are addressing something really unique, that's when the journey of determining what the brand is all about starts. That's when we as founders or anybody who's working should and must be thinking that yes, we address a problem right away, but how do we formulate that anybody who has that problem thinks about our company as the first, as opposed to other competitors or other people in the market? And how do we start the process of building the brand? To answer that, I think something that comes the first as a visual. When we see something, that's when we relate the most. When we see an Audi or Mercedes, we think, oh, this is something that is luxury. So I think the visual aspects of the brand, how it looks, feels, everything is important, the color. The second thing is the sense of it. Whenever we hear, let's say Bisleri, for example. I was actually looking at it. Bisleri is a brand which is actually a brand. When we think about water, Bisleri comes in. And that's because it is very, very connected to what we hear, and that's something that connects as a brand. So something that in a visual, audio, whatever we do, and as well as the feeling of it, and it's very important to describe. Okay, is it better? Okay. So the feeling of something, let's say, when we are scared, or the feeling of trust that you mentioned. If you want to trust, if I want to buy something, I go to Amazon. That's because it's a feeling that Amazon is something that is trustworthy. So these are three things that are important.
Check. Hello.
Can you all hear?
Check. I think she has spelled out very nicely, but I've got a different experience altogether, because 17 years I was a professional. I was working for different companies, Indian multinational companies. After becoming a joint managing director, the company management, the French management told me that, okay, you will become the managing director soon. But I thought I will never become an owner. So I decided to make a disruption in my life, in my professional life. I disrupted, I came out, I started this company, Pollocare. The branding to be done, we don't have a time nowadays. Nobody has got the time. So the branding to be done the day you start the company. Nowadays, people are naming the child before it was born. Similarly, it is applicable for any startup, the branding. It is not that you need to establish the product in the market and you need to get acceptance from the customer. Never. You have to build your brand. You need to sell your brand from the day one. And obviously, you need to give the best deliverance in your product also. Quality, cost, delivery, and response, QCDR in your products. Quality, cost, delivery, and the response is very important. So, you start building the brand from the day one. At the same time, you meet the QCDR in all your products, in all your deliverables. And obviously, your brand will be established. People start respecting the brand. And when you are having a startup, don't sell your individual name. It always take a back seat in your personal names and sell your brand, sell your company. And I'm sure you will be very successful. This is what we are doing. We started this company in the past, 2016. And we are there for nearly 7 years in the environmental and pollution field, and we have been awarded as a growing, emerging brand in the country by many forums. And this is what we believe in that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So Monu has promised he's going to be brutally honest, so I'm holding you to that.
Yeah, that's where I'm good at actually. So that's why I, perfection difficult to change at this stage. So, well, I haven't gone to B school or any of it, right? But I learned that people keep saying marketing mix, which is like 4 Ps and all of it. Understand customer sentiments and all of it. Am I still audible there?
Yes.
Okay, all right. However, if I look at my own journey, I'm as I said, there are a lot of good books are there. You can refer that online. I'm probably here to talk about my own journey and few leaves from my journey and to answer your question. When do we position our brand as a startup? Little bit of contrary to what is being said so far, and I'm not denying it or disagreeing it. Probably I'm just putting another perspective to it, which I am following it. To me, I started Diatos, which is a software development company. Now it is in 3 countries, and we are starting UAE as well. Then we started E2E hiring, and for all of it, yes, the naming is important. The name ceremony is important. What is there in your mind to name it, and what business we are gonna or problem we are gonna solve it. So that is there. But then the brand to me is not by myself. The brand is created by others, how they perceive and how they take your whole solutioning into, right? So obviously I want to be the top of the hill, I want to be, like another Apple, I want to be Google, but then I cannot decide that, right? It is the customer that, has to value it, right? And how they are going to value it when they see that you are solving a problem. The problem is, and probably when they realize or when you realize it, so go for pilot, do a customer, on the field, see how they are responding, find out the demographic, identity, even the psychological impact and all of it, right? Emotional connect and all that good thing. But then see through that you are able to solve the problem to some level, and then start, making a brand. And that's again a journey. A brand doesn't happen in one day. It doesn't get created. It's a journey for several years. Branding happens, rebranding happens. There are many brands that grow first, become Blinkit and all of it, right? That M&A happens, someone kills your brand. But then, in a nutshell, focus on what you're solving with the 100% honesty, and see that it's actually reaching out to end customers and the users and really solving the problem. And next is believe in your own brand, that you are building something unique, amazing, and have that passion drives you all through, even in difficult times. And reach out to people, take honest feedback, and see that, if any improvement can be done. And when you realize, and there will be a time, and I don't know when is the time, you as a founder or your team would realize that it's the time to make an impact, and people are appreciating the cause, the reason why you started, and it's not written anywhere. It's just a feel, and that's the time when you should take your brand to the market and publicize it.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to quote Jeff Bezos, just to add into whatever he said, is that he said, a brand is something that people talk about when you're not in the room. Yeah, so yeah, that validates.
It is your reputation at the end of the day.
Sure. So maybe I'll use this opportunity to talk about a couple of aspects of building a brand at a startup, and maybe lean on some of my own experiences over the years, especially at Good Worker. So in the digital age, I think one thing that becomes even more important is getting the brand name itself right on day one. Why? One, in the digital age, you need to get the domain right. So I'm talking of some very specific angles when you think of getting the brand for your business going. So you got to get the domain right. Is it a B2B brand or is it a B2C brand? In the B2C space, you got to make sure that the consumer is able to both call out the name very easily. You have some cases, examples where maybe that's not so easy. The other is you have a choice to make, which is, do you want the brand to be self-explanatory in terms of what it stands for, versus at times having a brand which is, let's say, short, sweet, and catchy. So let's take Good Worker as an example. It's a long name, but hopefully a lot of people kind of get what it stands for. We're basically building a business, a platform where the masses of the country and eventually the globe, we believe, are able to leverage to better their lives from an economic standpoint. So when we chose the brand, we had a couple of, or 2 or 3 variables we had to think about. We were very clear we were not building our business only for India. We're starting from India. So we wanted a brand which had the ability to go global. So that was one reason. The other is we said we wanted a brand which itself at least partly explained what we're trying to do. So, and there's no right or wrong about it. Let's, for example, take Ola. Great catchy name. In itself, if you did not know what it stands for, you don't really understand what it is. But so what I'm trying to say is these are choices, no right or wrong choice. But we chose to go with a brand name which kind of explained to some extent what it stood for. There is another angle you have to think of when you're thinking of the brand name. Do you think your long-term strategic direction is going to be very narrow or very broad? So, for example, if you are very clear you're going to be an insurance company, maybe you call yourself as HDFC Insurance. You're very clear it's going to be only about insurance. Versus, let's say you are clear you're going to be a conglomerate of businesses or a group of services. So let's say a Tata, which, a Tata name itself is essentially meant to stand for multiple services spreading across multiple businesses. So in our own case, for example, we believe that if you have to solve for bettering the life of blue-collar workers, you have to have multiple services, multiple solutions being built for them. So it did not want to choose a brand which kind of defined yourself to be very narrow. So I think that is one aspect of what I wanted to talk about. When you say, how do you go about starting to build a brand for a startup, choosing the name itself very carefully comes very, very early on, because once you've chosen the brand, the cost of switching the brand tomorrow because of some reason is pretty high, and then kind of puts you back a few years or a few months. That is one aspect of what I would want to pick up. The other interesting aspect I felt personally is, you refer to the 4 Ps, Monu. I come from a little more classical, journeys during the college days. So one of the things they teach you at college is the entire concept of segmentation, targeting, positioning. Now, one of the key learnings I've had at working at startups building brands is not to make the mistake of, when you're trying to put yourself and competition brands on a positioning map, take the easy way out, which is to, by hook or crook, put all competition brands in a bunch in one corner of that map and kind of say, I'm unique, I'm differentiated, I'm in this corner. Very easy to do. Why is that? I hope you get what I'm talking of. So typically you try and come up with a difference. You want to make sure your brand is differentiated and it is positioned uniquely. And the way you kind of go about doing that is, you identify a few variables that matter to that business. You segment yourself and competition on those variables, and then you plot each one of them, including yourself, on a map. And if you're kind of positioned away from the others, you kind of believe, okay, I'm going to win. The mistake that often happens in startups when you do that positioning is you compare what you think you will be in 5 years to what competition is today, because you don't know what they're planning to be in 5 years. So you then take the easy way out of coming up with a positioning map which is very favorable to you, but essentially is not honest. So maybe those are 2 points I thought I'll pick up about how my experiences have been about building a brand at a startup.
Thank you so much. Again, diverse views. So one of the things that I've noticed, startups are popping up everywhere, and even here in the audience, we have many startups which are in the initial stages, and some of them do not have the luxury of time or money to invest in creating the brand. So what are the disadvantages that a startup would face if they do not invest the time, the amount, the money in creating the brand today? Because I want the startups here also to learn that this is an important part, important stage in your growth. So what are the disadvantages they might face if they do not create that brand today?
Ladies first again?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Well, the moment somebody thinks that he or she is going to start a brand or a startup or a company, that's already good. So, like I said, like the moment we think that we are going to start a brand or a company, we are already 10 steps ahead of other individuals. If we, coming to the question, that if we do not have money or the luxury of resources in starting a company, what are the disadvantages? Well, I would say statistics say I think 60+% of people do not have the money anyway. We are all not that born with a golden or a silver spoon that somebody's there to help us out with starting something. So not necessarily disadvantages is what I would say, but it's a struggle the moment we start a brand. We gotta struggle whatever we have. When we think about solving a problem, we also have some savings. We go door to door, like they say that a startup owner should be the best saleswoman or salesman, right? So we have to do that struggle of asking people if they believe in us. If we believe in something, there gotta be someone who believes in us as well. And that's what I did as well. I was not rich enough to start a brand or start a company. So I started going to other people asking, hey, do you like this? And it was not like an easy piece of cake. I had to explain, I had to reiterate. And then there was somebody who believed in the venture and he said, maybe I will give 50% or whatever you have. And that's how you build the trust. That's how you iterate. I don't think this is a disadvantage of not having, because not everyone is rich or born rich, so it's okay. The thought of having a company is a great start, I would say, already.
So you're saying ask and you shall receive. It's all about collaboration, and if you believe in your brand that much, somebody else is going to believe and help you out.
Yes,
So,
hard work and constant perseverance is what I would say, yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else want to? Yeah.
Yeah, again, little bit different perspective, right? So always remember our seeds, right? So underneath, it has to grow and it has to, it go against all odds and, fight against the earth and come up and then, grow as a tree, right? So same concept, right? So as a startup, you don't have money. I never had money. I'm bootstrap always, and that's where I'm good at. So I am bootstrap all the time for all the companies that I have set up. So, and which means I never had money, right? So if you are really starting a company and you are really looking at positioning your brand, I think that's where you go wrong. Don't try to position your brand when you are solving a problem. Just solve the problem, and the people, if you like their. So have you heard of Chat GPT? Yes. I mean, what did they do to get so many likes and downloads and followers? And now there's a biggest threat to Google existence. So they solve a problem and become a brand. So yes, of course, brand is required. I mean, what Shah Rukh Khan does for his movies and all, that's important because, eventually how the movie comes out, I don't know. But then, yes, branding is important. But then if your solution is so unique, so different, so good, I think people will, campaign for you, right? But then, yes, again, I'm saying focus on the problem solving ability for time being, and the brand will build by itself. So yes, if you are having a lot of money, then you can actually focus on, maybe expedite the whole process. But then remember, you have a great brand, and when it's supposed to solve a problem, it doesn't work even. It'll not even take, a day to actually fall apart, right? So focus on the problem.
Thank you, thank you. So we have about 3-4 minutes to close. Do you all want to say anything on this question? No, I think we are just going to close. We can have a question, yeah. But Amit or Sai, you want to add anything about the disadvantages of not doing branding? Then we can open one question from the audience.
Like other my people said, so money is not required. Even I'm a startup company. I have not invested even a single pie when we started the company. It is all, I do the things differently. When you do the things differently, obviously your brand name will get established in the market. So you need to find a way how you are different from others. So that's very important. So once you do the things differently, your brand get established and your company get established. Obviously you will start getting the money also. Parallelly, then you can really invest on money for branding your company. Yes, thank you.
So figure out your USP, your X factor, and put that out in the world, and then it comes back to you. So, Amit, you have anything to say?
So I would link it to the objectives of brand building. If you delay or don't underinvest in the brand, then those objectives possibly get compromised. So look at what are some of the typical objectives of any brand building effort. One is simply raising demand for your products. So if you want to get more awareness going or more consumers to come in and walk in to purchase your brand, in a lot of industries that would suffer. What did Cadbury's do over a period of many years? They were trying to increase the frequency of how often you consume chocolates. So they did that through their advertising campaigns. So if they wanted to replace Indian sweets and get into the wallet share of what gets consumed inside homes at festivals, they needed to run campaigns which essentially put that marker in the minds of consumers that I can consume chocolates and the sweets on festivals. So that was one purpose, got addressed because they started to address that problem specifically. The other would be, let's say, if you want to be able to do a price increase for your product, at some point you need to start positioning your brand as more premium than what it has been, or maybe more premium to what other competitive brands are. So if you start investing in that brand today, of course, like you said, completely agree, the product, the solution has to be right. But there are often instances where you have a premium product, solves everything that a competitor does, but the consumer trusts the competitor's brand and hence walks away from yours. So I would kind of link it to the objectives of what the brand building is for. And if you delay or underinvest, then objectives probably get compromised.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We'll take maybe one question from the audience. Anybody has a question for our panelists?
How does one, sort of divide the rule between business that is growing and where do you stop when, you've reached that level and you say, okay, no more marketing required. We've reached that level because it's a continuous ball game. You have to continue to market. When would you stop and say, we've made enough money now, so let's put a hold to marketing. Let's put a hold to public media, everything. Is that possible at all? Because when you're a startup, when do you stop saying that, okay, we might become a unicorn sometime soon, let's put a hold to this?
Everyone wants to answer.
It's a very good question, but it's an infinity process.
Yes.
You cannot stop, even if you go to any level. Even Coke is #1 drinks in the world. But they never stop the advertisement. They never stop the branding.
Yeah.
They never give the sponsorship for the FIFA thing. So there is no ending for the branding, no ending for the marketing and sales.
It's a challenge for the CEO that, when would you stop?
Yeah. That's why you and me are paid CEOs.
There's a term called brand remembrance, which means we as human beings do forget like what we are seeing on day-to-day basis. That's why, sometimes we see shops which do not necessarily run, but brands do have these small shops, because when we walk past that, we do see that there's a store, W store, maybe there's, like Aurelia store, and then we realize, there's this brand, I remember now. So that's how it works.
Two statements like to propose, quick answer. When do you stop marketing? When there is a recession, when there is a COVID, and you stop marketing. And trust me, if you look at the entire expenses or investment that any company does, the sales marketing is the one that gets hit first. So it is not that it never stops. Yes, it stops. When situation, right, COVID, you saw there are a lot of companies in marketing, it's just out. The banners in the road, it's gone, right? So which means, and yeah, and it is not that, I think the question is when do you start? So there is a concept in business, I think 0 to 1, which means that's when you're building the product and getting your first 100 or 10 customers, that's 0 to 1. And 1 to N, that's when you put money onto branding and marketing.
Thank you. Thank you. So thank you so much for being a part of the panel. We have very little time. Just one closing remark from each of you on branding for startups, something that can stay with them. Like you said, plant a seed today, which will grow tomorrow. So please, open to all of you.
So as I said in the beginning itself, we don't have a time. We startup owners, we don't have a time. Start building a brand from the day one. Name your child before it is born. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to say good luck to everyone. And I think each one of us can do it, can build a brand. It's not like, oh, he or she is doing it, so maybe we cannot. So have that confidence, solve some problems, and we will get there, definitely.
So I think I'm not prepared for this answer, but maybe what a citizen for a country, right? So how we feel proud of the country. I think brand is for an entrepreneur or their team is probably the same emotions that exist. It's all about brand that you are actually sleeping all through, all day, all night, and working all days, right? So I think that's that emotion. I think brand is emotion.
So I guess I'll speak for Good Worker because we're building a brand and a business for blue-collar workers. Trust and awareness will always remain primary for us. So we know that in this business, unless you have a very strong, trusted brand, we're not going to get anywhere. So I guess what I'm saying is that brand building will remain, has and will remain key for us as we go forward from here. That's very core to our business, given that we are primarily a consumer-facing business.
Thank you very much. And if any of you want to connect with them and understand more about their startups and how their journey in branding has helped them, please do connect with them at lunchtime. And we want to say thank you very much. And I think we want to, Thank you, everyone.
A big thank you to all our panelists and definitely our moderator here. I request Mr. Kumar Saurabh to please come forward and present a token of gratitude and appreciation to each one of them. Ladies and gentlemen, these are our panelists, and what amazing insights we got. I mean, I'm just wondering on how important it is to choose the right domain, the right name, and a lot more. So this was quite an insightful panel discussion over here, and I'm so delighted that we all witnessed it firsthand. So thanks once again to all our panelists over here. And we'll let you know that we have more exciting, equally exciting things in the store going forward. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for our panelists and our moderator. Wonderful memories created. I request all the panelists to please step forward for a beautiful, memorable photograph. Thank you very much to each one of you. Please get seated and be comfortable and be with us for the rest of the session. Well, now moving forward, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to delightfully announce that we have our special guest of honor with us today, right now, and he is a national spokesperson with JDS, the Deputy Chairman for NRI Forum, Government of Karnataka. He's a renowned politician and business personality, and let me tell you, when they say that some of the people really conquer peaks, well, he is the only politician in our country who has conquered the peak of Mount Everest. So please put your hands together for Mr. Tanveer Ahmed. I request Kumar Saurabh to please come forward and welcome our special guest of honor for the day. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tanveer Ahmed for all of us here.
Sir, once again, sir.
Mr. Ahmed, I request you to please step forward and share a few words of enlightenment with all of us. Please give it up for Mr. Ahmed, everybody.
Namaskara, Sarvarigu Namaskara. Dreams are delectable, reality is quite harsh. And I would like to start with what Shikha said, smile is mandatory. The only thing an entrepreneur has is a smile. I believe in the story of India. Before becoming a politician, I was a teacher in Westminster University, London. I have seen the vulnerability of the world. Yes, I chose to speak like this today. I chose to come here like this today because the dream of India is humongous, huge. I'm dressed like an Indian. Today I have a meeting with an investor where I'm asking him to invest about 225 crores. I'm sure he'll give it to me. That's the confidence. Not about my product or my intelligence or my educational background. That's the belief I have in this country. This country is not built by politicians, please, no. Absolutely no. This country is built by people like you who believed in this. When we said, the great Gita said, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is a family, one family. You all believed in it, right? When you started a product, a good friend of mine, Mr. Baiju, we all know COVID came as a disaster to a lot of people, but COVID came as a blessing to Baiju and his family. Grabbed it. People who can't make money in India can't make anywhere. Ghana, I know, it is 6,000 rupees per acre land. You can go do cultivation, business. You don't know. You don't know. Tomorrow America would see that, there are a lot of gold out there. They might really say that no business from India. You don't know. The only country, I'll tell you, today I went to my gym, cult. I was working out. And I met this cleaner boy. I asked him, how much salary do you make? He said, 15,000 rupees. I said, after that? He said, I sell pani puri. I said, after that? He said, I swear I'm not making up. He said, I drive a luggage auto. I asked him, how much money do you make? He said, both the places where I'm an employee, where as an auto driver, also as a cult employee, I make 30,000 rupees. But as a pani puri shop wala, I make 50,000 rupees. India is a great country for so many reasons. One thing I'll tell you, Australia, rich, right? Big, right? The amount of people in Australia as a population is the amount of blind people we have in India. Imagine we are taking care of so many blind people. What a great country it could be. It is. The only thing which is limited in India is our thought process. Pakistan today, a kg of wheat in Pakistan is costing 500 rupees. In India, it is just 39 rupees. We will never be a surplus economy. No, we will not be a surplus economy. But we will be a surplus intellectual property of the entire world. It is not accidental that, we have the CEOs of the world who are Indians. No, imagine a country which says, मन करे सो प्राण दे, जो मन करे सो प्राण ले, वही तो एक सर्वशक्तिमान है. विश्व की पुकार है, यह भागवत कसार है कि युद्ध ही तो वीर का प्रमाण है. अर्जुन is as famous as Karna. Both were fighting from opposite places. Some places, Karna is more prominent than Arjuna. What a great country this is. I'm really astonished. Okay, I know I told that myself I'm not going to make any political statement, but let me just make a political statement today. Do you know all the problems are there only in news channels? Down there on the street, absolutely no problem at all. No problem at all. Sarve jano sukhino bhavatu is the thought process of this country, epitome of this country. I climbed Everest. It was difficult. In my team, I lost 33 people died in my team. But more difficult is to run a business than climbing an Everest. You guys have chosen to be one. The only thing, actually, there was somebody who asked the question, I think that lady out there, when would you stop marketing? Never! The day you say that, I'm not going to, I'm going to stop marketing, you're dead. Do you remember a brand called Binaka? No, you don't. Every person, when we were young, they knew Binaka, Gitmala. No, you don't remember those brands. Why? They didn't evolve. They thought, actually yesterday I was there with the chief of staff. The chief of staff of army. I was there sitting with him. And do you know today, India, we are at the most indigenous manufacturing country in the world when it comes to defense system. We're outclassing, outbeating France. We're outclassing, outbeating Israel. Forget about Germany, England, we have outbeaten them long back. Only two people we are yet to conquer, that is America and China. China is way ahead. China is way ahead. Modi ji should be grateful to people like you. The startup India, the startup. Imagine, man. Imagine a country or a religion which says, Karmanyavadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachala. Do your bloody deeds. Don't worry about your fruit. The world is worried only about fruit. This is the only country which says, do about your deeds. Worry about your deeds. We started marketing about 5,000 years ago, and we will continue to market ourselves for till the eternity, till the existence of this world. I believe in the story of India. I believe in the story of the young entrepreneurs. We are not fictitious people. अरे लुई विटॉन लिया वरना हमारे पास फेक ब्रांड मिल जाएगा. आपको मालूम है लुई विटॉन का फेक ब्रांड का मार्केट इंडिया के अंदर कितना बड़ा है? No, I'm not promoting fake brand. I would always tell my friends that, wear a brand which you can afford. If you can't afford, you don't need to really go into fake brands, because sometimes लेने के देने पड़ जाते हैं. We are this close to become, people say that India is becoming a Vishwa Guru. India was always a bloody Vishwa Guru, man. It was always a Vishwa Guru. You know what was our GDP in 1756? 50% of the world's GDP. 50%. We were strategically destroyed. We were strategically destroyed. The day we will start believing again in the idea of divisiveness, we will again be strategically. Today the world is not concentrating to make India. Today the world is really worried. Imagine, man, you go to Silicon Valley, 50% of bloody engineers. हमको इंग्लिश आता है नहीं आता वो अलग बात है भाई, मत तेरा बाप बनने की कैपेसिटी जरूर रखते हैं हम लोग, क्योंकि हमारे पास मैथमेटिकल इंटेलिजेंस gifted. I'll tell you my story. I was in London. Not London, I was in England. I'm sorry, I was in USA. Bloomington, Illinois, Chicago. I went to a shop, me and my daughter. I had $20 and my purchase was for $11. I gave her $21 because I didn't want to carry coins and let me get $10 back. यहाँ पे छोटा सा बनिया भी समझ लेगा ना इतना mathematics, correct? So that lady took 20 and 1 and she asked me. I said, what do you want? I said, give me $10 back. She like, $10? But why are you paying me extra? I said, ma'am, it is totally $11. Take 1 extra, give me 10 back. She like, I don't understand. She called her supervisor. The manager comes. I'm like, hi, I'm Steve here. Can I help you? I said, Steve, this is my problem. Said, yeah, I don't really understand, sir. I can really solve, but why are you paying me extra? मैं बोला इसको अगर मैं मैथ समझाता जाऊंगा मैं मैथ्स भूल जाऊंगा. I took 9 plus 1, kept it in my pocket. I told my daughter, let my pocket be heavy for a while. Let's go. But यहाँ पर मैथमेटिक्स छोटा सा बच्चा समझेगा. It is very difficult. Startup, there would be a time that you want to give up. But sometimes if you think things are not working, it is no shame in giving up. Upgrading yourself. Go back to your investors and say, sir, the product which I thought is going to be solving the problem of the world, I don't think it is solving. But I want to do something else. It would be much greater good you would be doing to yourself than hanging on and clinging on to something which is not really going to work. बिजनेस और युद्ध में कोई फर्क नहीं है भाई, कोई फर्क नहीं है. अगरचे आपको सोचना है, देखना है, भालना है, फिर करना है, नहीं होगा. Actually, I was wondering, this business I'm doing, can I went to CEO of a company who was drawing a salary of $2 million. I went to him and I said, sir, मेरे पास कुछ idea है, but I'll not pay you any salary. Will you work for me? He agreed. Yesterday, for strategic reason I'm not naming, yesterday I sent my same partner to go to another CEO of another big company which we are planning to acquire, saying that, say the same bloody thing. He said, Tanvir, will this work? I said, try to karo. He agreed. Most startups or ideas fail because we are very apprehensive. We are very apprehensive. मैं हारूंगा नहीं, मैं या फिर जीतूंगा या फिर सीखूंगा. That's all your life goal has to be. जीतूंगा या सीखूंगा. अरे no problem. Recently I was in airport and one guy came and slapped me. Trust me, it was an experience. बहुत साल हो गए थे फादर से स्लैप खाए हुए. It was an experience. For my position and power, I would have definitely ensured that he is going to go behind bars. But बोला ठीक है, no problem. ये भी एक experience था. But I'm asking you, don't take slaps because sometimes it could be dangerous. If at all somebody slaps you, just go and give a good, nice police complaint. I don't know. Actually, these days, I read about this country so much, the opportunities in this country so much. Do you even understand the amount of old people whose children are billionaires? Not millionaires, billionaires. And who are waiting for somebody to really take care of their parents, their business? You can make 5 unicorns out of it. 5, not 1. The opportunity is huge. Facebook is surviving because of us. पहले Facebook से पहले elite लोग करते थे, आज में my driver, Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg should be grateful to India. YouTube, great. This population was, is, and will be the blessing. Is, was, and will be blessing. The only place you see hatred, वो है ना कि जमाने में तनाव है, देखो कहीं चुनाव है. ये चुनाव और तनाव हम पे छोड़ दीजिएगा आप. आपको नहीं मालूम बैकग्राउंड में हम किस किस के दोस्त होते हैं, क्या क्या होते हैं, आपको नहीं मालूम. बट एक संस्कृत का श्लोक है, मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है कि धनम चोर भयम. जहां पर पैसा होता है वहां पर चोरी का डर होता है. धनम चोर भयम. रोगम मृत्यु भयम. जहां पर रोग होता है वहां पर मृत्यु होती है. ज्ञानम वाद भयम. जहां पर 2 ज्ञानी बैठते हैं बहुत लड़ते हैं. मैं इसलिए ज्ञानियों के साथ बैठता ही नहीं हूं मैं, क्योंकि मैं तो मूर्ख हूं, वो अलग बात है. ज्ञानम वाद भयम. अधिकारम युद्ध भयम. जहां पर अधिकार होता है, किसी को भी अधिकार, भले वो कृष्णा को हो, मोहम्मद को हो, जीसस को हो, बिना युद्ध के, बिना संघर्ष के आज तक मिला नहीं, मिलेगा भी नहीं. और युद्ध, अधिकार और बिजनेस में कोई ज्यादा अंतर नहीं है. Sometimes this war is more stronger than this war. I was a wrestler. I represented the state, the country. तो इसलिए कभी कभी वो दावपेच काम आ जाते हैं. But last, I want to really conclude by saying, surround yourself always with intelligent, intellectual people who don't praise you but analyze you. The threshold of criticism amongst us is dying. पहले मैं जब छोटा था, पापा से लेके पड़ोसी तक मेरे को मारते थे. आज कोई मजाल है हमारे बच्चों को कोई छुए? That thing gave, strength to take criticism in a nice manner. But today's youths, thoda बिठा के बात करो. And second and important, you will get loads of information. Please, young people below the age of 35, listen to me. You will get loads of information. But knowledge and wisdom really would come from experience. People with experience, they are not gold, they are rare. Please sit with them and analyze your problems. And last, and certainly not least, see for an opportunity with your eyes and mind open. with a dream. I said dreams are delectable, but reality is quite harsh. But the reality is India is growing. India is not going to be... Actually, I have bought a beautiful book. I'll leave it with Saurabh. Bangalore alone can become 1 trillion economy. Bangalore alone can become $1 trillion economy. I mean, this could be possible only with people like you. Not like me. I'm done. Like you. And that's all. मैंने अगर कुछ सही बोला है तो it is because of my teachers and my friends and I'm surrounded by. अगर कुछ गलत बोला है तो because of my inability to comprehend information. I'll take 2 questions if at all there are any, and otherwise I'll just conclude. Do we have 2 questions? If I know the answer, I will answer. Yes, please.
So in India, we have always been, away from failures. I mean, हमको बचपन से सिखाया जाता है you have to be successful. So what would be your words of wisdom for, to tackle the failures? I mean, failures do come in some or the other ways. It's not the ultimate failure, but then how do you tackle the failures? So some thoughts on that. Thank you.
India is the... I would like to take another approach, probably the neo India, which you're talking about, but the old India. How many are Kannadigas here? Kai kesaradare bai masru. Right? हाथ टूटेगा तो ही मुंह में दही आएगा. हमको सिखाया जाता था. हाथ कंगन को आरसी क्या, पढ़े लिखे को फारसी क्या. Yes, हमको effort was important सिखाया जाता था. But see, I'll tell you, the westernized system of education is great, but Indianized system of wisdom is greater. Westernized system of education is great. Indianized system of wisdom is greater. The day we understand the difference between information and wisdom, successful. I hope I answered the question. Last question. See, being a spokesperson of the Prime Minister of India, I have learned the art of answering, but don't take all my answers as But one thing I would say, yes, the gentleman, very handsome man. क्या नाम है आपका? Saib. Tell me, Saib.
So I basically started my startup journey at the age of 17. Currently 19. So I just wanted to ask the question, as currently in India we have this race of valuation of funding, right? But the important question is how, like as you mentioned, that finding experienced people who can guide you through the startup waters is something really that is very required for entrepreneurs. So how would you actually phrase that? Like in India, should we focus on in India, are we focusing on unicorn startups or sustainability of startups?
I think you answered the question. About an individual, I'm sure he would be more worried about unicorn, but if you're bringing India into picture, I think you should be working more towards sustainable thing. The bubble of making yourself bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, that's not the dream of India. That's absolutely not the dream of India. That could be a dream of individual. Do you even analyze how foreign investors do come to India and how they invest and how this valuation racket work? Racket. Do you even understand?
Like as you mentioned at the earlier stage, or like when you were telling in your speech, that the problem is never in the ground level. When you look at the media, वो news इतना hype होता है, when you see that is the problem when you see. But in the ground level, there is no problem.
There was a young man called my good friend Suhas Gopinath. Do you know about him? No? Because you're a young man, you should know Suhas Gopinath. Suhas Gopinath was the youngest CEO of the world. He was the CEO at the age of 14. Today he's a billionaire. An actual billionaire. Not a fictitious one. He's the one who has helped to map all of us BBMP mapping, the defense security system. He has really worked. So you are 17 and you're 19. You started at 17 and 19. Keep your eyes open for acquiring as much as knowledge and wisdom as possible, and don't get into this. Actually मैंने देखा है मेरे दोस्त को, टाइटल है CEO फाउंडर. अब उसकी कंपनी में फोन करो तो फोन भी वही उठाता है. आजकल एक बहुत फैशनेबल टर्म हो गया है फाउंडर, है ना सर? यस. बट ओके, बिफोर आई कंक्लूड, आई एम वेरी हैप्पी टू एंड डिलाइटेड हियर दैट देयर आर अबाउट. हाँ सर.
Thank you. It was so beautifully explained, all the points you were covering, and very impressive and actually motivating, sir. Sir, I have one startup. I work on preventive healthcare. We develop herbal products in a very using different technology. So one challenge we face that we would like to create a value as a startup. You said that, and everybody says that a startup takes time. And it's tough challenge to build the startup. But when investors comes, they want valuation, not value. So this is very contradictory, and we face a tough challenge sometimes. How to balance it? What is your suggestion on that?
I wish I could know the answer. I would have really made my company bigger unicorn. But it's a... Sir, बाबा रामदेव को किसने स्टडी किया है क्लोजली? Has anybody taken time to study about Baba Ramdev? Forget what news channel speaks about and all that. Great marketing guru.
Yes.
He can't even pronounce 90% of English words. And that came as strength to him.
Yes.
Because उसको लगा कि मेरे जो बिहारी, यूपी वाले, मध्य प्रदेश वाले, राजस्थान वाले जो सुनेंगे, उनको लगेगा कि उनका घर का कोई बच्चा बात कर रहा है. और एक एलोपैथी के आई वुड नॉट से खिलाफ, एलोपैथी के बारे में एक जो सिस्टम जो बना, धारणा बनी, उसका जो जैसा प्रोसेस बनता है, he used it as an opportunity.
Right.
He used it as an opportunity. Sir, I know value and valuation, but herbal business is a great business because as soon as you say about India, what comes into your mind?
Yeah, natural.
Our Vedic medicine.
Yeah.
What comes to your mind? Yoga. You know how big is yoga today?
Yeah, globally everywhere people are talking
Man,
about yoga. Yes.
when I go to London, I would get a trainer, MMA trainer at a lesser price than a yoga instructor. And that yoga instructor would say, she would come and say that this is Asta Yoga.
Yes, very true.
So, sir, if it is about a real question about how to really work on your business, you can take my contact details from the gentleman. I can really study, or I can ensure it that somebody would incubate, or some contacts could be really worked out.
Thank you so much.
But value and valuation, if you really market as an India के अंदर आपको मालूम है मूंगे की फली को क्या बोलते हैं? Wait, drumstick. देखो, very nice. Drumstick leaves. You know how big is the market? घर के बाहर पेड़ है, हम लोगों को पता ही नहीं है. It is a bloody $1 billion industry, man. Moringa is a name they use. Moringa. It is $1 billion.
Yes.
Opportunities. And ladies and gentlemen, friends, sit, sir.
Thank you.
India is a land of opportunity, sages, knowledge, wisdom, and information. India is a land of great opportunity. Next time when we come to an event like this, I would like to see at least 10%, 20% of them should have achieved their dreams. And dreams has to be always balanced by your efforts. Don't have illogical, unsystematical dreams. मैं यूनिकॉर्न बनूंगा, क्या करूंगा मैं? पता नहीं. Lot of us are there in this world like that. So I conclude by saying what's your name, lady? Shikha said, dreams are mandatory. I'm sorry, smile is mandatory. So smile and thank you very much. Sarvarigu namaskara.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tanveer Ahmed, our special guest of honor, may I request Mr. Kumar Saurabh to please felicitate him. What a set of powerful words. What an engaging talk. Thank you very much, Mr. Ahmed, for that enlightenment. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Mr. Ahmed. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your presence.